Well, Joel, unfortunately, you're probably a defendant in every single one. So
I am.
so,
And I don't mind putting people on notice. I just, like I said, one deposition.
okay, I think we have everybody. Stephen,
Yep.
I have Nushan, Jacqueline, Colt, Brianna, Stephen Mendenhall, Kimberly, and that's it. Are we missing anybody? Their name.
Alex and Danielle, if you can please turn on your camera so they know that you're here.
No, I don't need the camera. Oh, there's the camera. Well, can they hear me? That's all that matters. Danielle, you're muted.
Hi, Floyd.
Hi. Jacqueline, you're muted.
Floyd.
All right.
We can all hear, or at least on my end, we can hear you.
Nushan, you're muted. Kimberly, you're muted.
I'm present. We can hear you.
That's what my wife wants to do to me. All right, let's get this thing going.
All right, Floyd, well, if you're ready, I can give the conference room full host. And then if anything else happens, feel free to call the hotline and we can quickly hop back on.
Yeah, give me host. A couple of times they haven't given me co-host and I couldn't turn the damn thing off.
No worries. Well, you have host now.
Thanks for your help. Thanks
You're
for
welcome.
sticking with us.
Have a good one, everyone.
All right, this is the time set for a special master hearing in Christopher Noah Wren versus Affinity Lifestyles et al. Case number A-21-831169-B in all coordinated similar cases. Counsel, as you can see, we have a court reporter, so before you speak, please identify yourself for the court reporter so the record is clear. Just a couple of things I want to go over. I did receive a proposed agenda with some documents attached yesterday, which,
Floyd, sorry to interrupt, but it looks like Jason Fowler is waiting too. He just popped
We
on.
have to let him in because we're the
well, I know, he made us co-host, didn't he?
off the record.
Yeah.
All right, so this is the time set for the special master hearing in Christopher Noah Wren versus Affinity Lifestyles et al., including all the coordinated cases. I received a request for an agenda with some documents attached yesterday that looked pretty good, but I want to go over a couple of things with the council, just to kind of check the status of where we are. On some of the prior orders, on June 14, I asked that all medical records be deposited within 45 days. So we're not through that 45 days yet, but that's just a reminder. Have people started depositing medical records?
No, and the reason we haven't is because we wanted to bring up the procedure. We were going to do it here. And we talked to Holo yesterday. I didn't talk to him, but I've got a report. And our concern was we didn't want to put a plaintiff's medical record
Yeah, I know.
in just a general depository where anybody could get to it. So, for example, giving you one example, I think only 2 plaintiffs had sued Walgreens. So obviously they're entitled to the medical records of those plaintiffs, but why would they be able to take a look at, say, Tracy's clients, King's medical records? So we talked to Holo about how you could accomplish that. And they said that what they wanted to do is set up a subdirectory for each plaintiff and that they could do that. And we would verify with them which defendant and defense firms could get access to it. So those would be case specific. So, for example, using Walgreens as an example again, the name of the plaintiffs I think are Strong and Gacias in that case that have sued Walgreens. So they would get full and complete access to it. Real Water, of course, is named in every case. They get access across the board.
Thank you.
A lot of the defendants are named. A couple of the defendants are named in every case. But we thought we had to set it up that way because. Some of these people in the medical records, they may have things like HIV diagnosis or, potentially embarrassing things. And so we thought we didn't want to be in a situation where we had just opened up their records to people who weren't really authorized. So that's why we talked to Holo, and subject to everyone understanding that and not having an objection to it, we can implement that, but it hasn't been implemented yet.
Well, it seems to me we're going to have the personal injury attorneys do the initial designation of who gets their client's records.
Right.
And then once everyone has notice of the subdirectories from Halo, then we can see if there's an objection.
Yeah, and I'm sure the Halo person can print out, every couple weeks who the plaintiffs are and who has access, make that available somehow. But that's the only way I can think of doing it. But, we're ready to start dumping records in, but we had to make sure this was fixed first.
Well, why don't we do this? I think we need to,
Do you want me to do up a draft order and shoot it to Joel and let the defense group take a look at it? And
Yeah, I mean, I'll agree to what you've already proposed. That's fine.
yeah, I think we just need to get a protocol. Why don't you tell Halo? Why don't you draft a protocol and route it for everyone to see if,
Okay.
but we might want to see if Halo's accepts your protocol first.
Well, this is Halo's protocol that they gave to us yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah. Apparently they've had this issue before.
But I would assume that the plaintiff attorney groups could each designate who gets their records, right?
Right. Yeah. The Holo wants the plaintiff attorney to do it because they represent the plaintiff, so it kind of shifts the responsibility over to.
Yeah, well, then if there's a defendant that feels they're entitled to the record, we can raise the issue and take care of it.
Right. And there may be,
I'm worried about HIPAA too.
yeah, HIPAA's a big concern. But, there may be a legitimate need that, say, for example, Walgreens again wants to take a look at it.
Don't invite it.
Yeah. Well, I can't imagine what it is, but there may be. Okay.
All right, I'd like to go through. All right, so are you going to take the rolling oar on that?
Yeah.
Do we have the Egley group in the hearing somehow?
Danielle's on the phone.
I thought we lost. Oh, there she is.
Hi.
Okay, you're still there. We lost your picture, and normally I would keep your name, but all right, just so you can hear. Did you follow
I'll
all
keep my
that?
camera on. You're good.
No, you don't need to. I just want to make sure you could hear us. Did you hear the discussion? Okay.
I did. Thank you.
All right. So all of you plaintiffs' attorneys will get together with Will and get a protocol for Halo.
In addition, the fact sheets need to be deposited in the subdirectory too, because the fact sheets have all the doctors on them.
Yeah. Okay, hold on. Give me 1 second here. And I noticed there was an issue about this Shaney Castillo depot, but I don't really know what the issues are. Are you folks trying to work that out?
Yeah, I think the one thing that we need from you, Floyd, is the deposition should be cross-noticed. So in other words, if you want to take a deposition of somebody in Wren, and it's a real water person, you cross-notice it to the other coordinated cases, so the other plaintiff attorneys have notice.
And there was one of the items on the agenda was getting a main directory. We already have one technically. Last August, I entered an order that said that every single thing that gets served in the Wren litigation.
Yeah, and the problem is so the deposition notice got served the day after another case got consolidated in. So I don't know that the King plaintiffs consent to going forward with the Shaney deposition. Maybe they do.
What deposition?
The Shaney, S-H-A-N-Y.
Her full name's Shaney Castillo. Castillo.
So if the depositions are cross-noticed with the cases that are being consolidated in, that solves the problem. But yeah, we're going to have one or two more that will appear or that will be on the Wren service list, but may not be yet.
But technically, they all should be monitoring Wren.
They should, but if they haven't been consolidated or they haven't stipulated
Coordinated.
to that. Coordinated, yeah. So the stipulation was signed by everybody. It wasn't entered by the court. Entered by the court after the deposition got noticed.
Oh, yeah.
Are you talking about the Henry case?
King,
The King case?
yeah. So presumably the plaintiff's attorneys and King are fine with going forward?
We have Danielle right there.
Yeah, we're fine with going forward with the deposition, yeah. And our SIP to coordinate was submitted today, so hopefully we'll get that signed and entered in the next few days.
All right, thank you, Danielle. All right, so,
So basically, my concern is, look, one deposition for the coordinated cases. We have Procova, which is not going to be here anytime soon, but if we cross notice, I believe those plaintiff attorneys will agree because they haven't got their bankruptcy stay set aside.
yeah, we really need to take them. We want one shot with all the attorneys represented.
Right.
Can I just interject on Perkova? We're actually going to be representing her as well. Once the bankruptcy stay has been lifted. So we're going to be associating in on that case. I don't know if that
Right, so
helps
we have
things or
no-
complicates it, but
No, that's great. I mean, that's the purpose, is just make sure that we've got one deposition notice to everybody who cares. We also have Vinceletti, which has been consolidated. I don't know if the plaintiff attorneys in Vinceletti want to go
Who are
forward.
the plaintiff's attorneys in the case?
Yeah, we'll consider that.
Questions.
Stephen, what group do you have?
Vince Follett.
There we go.
What
Yeah.
was that?
I have Vince Follett, Nathan Vince Follett, or Vince Folletti.
That's what I was thinking. Okay. Are you consolidated in?
Yeah, it should be.
Okay. Well, Joel, unfortunately, you're probably a defendant in every single one. So
I am.
you're- So,
And I don't mind putting people on notice. I just, like I said, one deposition. I currently have a problem with that particular day. I could do it the day before or the day after.
Yeah, I don't mind moving it.
Yeah.
The only reason we, as I said before, we picked Shani Castillo to start because she's a super low level, I consider her a low level person. She's the so-called production manager, but she's just what we understand, a young woman in her 20s with no technical background who was just working. So we picked a relatively low level one just to kind of get the process started.
And that's fine.
If you want to kick it back a week, I have no problem,
I think that would resolve the notice issues because now they've all received a notice from me.
Okay, well, why don't I do an amended notice to the 19th and we'll just kick it back a
We'll
week.
check the 19th.
and Joel, you're going to have to just keep a checklist on these. And if we missed one of the attorneys, can you route it?
Yeah, and then the other part of it is plaintiffs may have documents, I have documents that are being produced that reference this particular young lady.
Right.
These documents will be produced, some of them momentarily. I can't do the 19th, but I can do right after. I can shoot you a bunch of dates.
Give it to me now and we'll pick one.
I can do the 28th, 29th.
Let's do the 28th. Done.
If I may interject, I mean, everyone knows I'm fairly new to this case in the last 10 days, so give my unfamiliarity. But my understanding that there has been an objection filed, and I'm not sure if you filed the objection to the deposition going forward, basically because my understanding, there's been 14 pallets of documents turned over, which I understand, and if I'm saying this incorrectly, about 400 boxes. For us, I think we'd certainly like the opportunity to be able to have our experts look at those documents. We'd like to be able to look at those documents and be able to prepare for the deposition because I think it'll be a more effective deposition because at the end of the day, what's going to happen is that we're going to go forward with this deposition. Everyone's going to look at the documents. We're going to have an expert look at the documents, and then we're going to have to do this again. And it's not going to be as meaningful a deposition the first time as it would be if we had a chance to review the documents that have been turned over. And no disrespect to counsel, but I suspect that once we take a deposition, then we have to do it a second time. We're going to be back here in front of you as to whether or not we can go forward with the deposition a second time. So we're creating an issue that doesn't need to be created.
Who do you represent?
United Natural Foods. So, our position is that we understand the deposition, understand the character of the individual that's going to be deposed, but we're creating a problem that doesn't need to be created by going forward this deposition before everybody has an opportunity to look at the documents, have their experts look at the documents. Then we have a chance to talk with our experts. It's going to be a much more meaningful deposition because we're going to go in there and we're going to be throwing darts at the wall to find out what we should or should not ask.
What's the date you just moved it to?
The 20th. Yeah, in response, in theory, you would want all the defendants to produce all their documents, including your client, before we took this deposition, because Ms. Castillo may have something to do with distribution. I don't know. But that basically says we don't do any deposition for 90 or 120 days. So that's why we chose the other alternative, which is starting with a real low-level employee and kind of work our way up. If it was an apex deposition, say one of the Joneses, I'd agree with you 100%.
And I think some of the things Will says, I mean, everybody seems, what I have gathered, to be working together to try to work through this. And that's what we want to do as well. So there's been some discussion about moving the deposition over, and we don't want to move it over infinitum to a date. But I think if we can move it over further than the week, maybe we can get it over 30 or 45 days. And that time we can get the opportunity to look at these documents, have our experts look at the documents. Because right now, we're creating a problem. We're going to be back in front of you to debate this once again, and I don't think we need to do that.
Well, any deposition can be retaken if there's good cause. So if there's something amazing that comes out of this Castillo deposition, like, for example, she testifies that she was in charge of making the concentrate, which I don't think that's going to be the case. I think she's just, they called her production manager. I don't think that's kind of a grand title for her. I don't think she's really much of nothing. But I just don't think you can wait forever to start doing the deposition.
And I don't disagree with Will that we can
We
wait
may
forever.
have to edit this record a little bit for this poor lady.
But, he used two words there that I think illustrates what I'm trying to explain. If there's good cause to take a second deposition. So the only thing I'm saying is we're going to want to take it again. There's going to be an argument whether or not there's good cause. We're going to be back here arguing this again. So my point
All right,
being.
let's move it 1 week. That's a month. That's a month from now.
7/28.
Today is what, the 7th? How about we make it the first week of August?
Yeah,
Fine, pick one.
I don't have a problem. I just,
Like,
you got to start somewhere.
That's what I said.
and I think Will's right. We start
Winning.
somewhere.
What do you got, Joel, in August?
1 through 5, 8.
What day of the week is the 8th?
8th is a Monday.
2, 3, 4.
I do.
We've got 8, 9, 10.
I got, not 9. I could do 10 or 11.
Let's do 10.
All right, so Shaney will be on
10 o'clock?
Yeah.
August 10.
Yeah.
Would you work with Joel and make sure that notice goes to everybody?
Yeah, we'll make sure.
Okay. If it goes in Wren, people probably don't know that we need to do that.
So that kind of is another point that's on this agenda. I think one of
Well, let me go through the agenda in order. I kind of jumped because there was an objection.
okay.
Yeah, let me start because we're talking about that evidence and we'll get back. Just if you forget something you want to go over. All right, we had a proposed agenda which looked pretty good to me. The first thing was the status of evidence from Mesa and the real water production of documents. So let's go over that. Will, what's the status of the shipment from Mesa?
Joel's got the best information on that.
Okay,
Yes,
Joel?
we've received 12 pallets of records and evidence from Mesa.
How many?
12 pallets. Somebody estimated there's about 400 boxes in those 12 pallets. Of those boxes, not all of them are going to be relevant documents. There's going to be some junk in them. Our current plan is to have the documents, but not evidence, but just documents trucked from the real water warehouse to Hollow. Hollow can receive 7 pallets. That's what I think the documents consist of. And then our paralegals or attorneys will go to Hollow, make sure that whatever is getting scanned is actually relevant to this case in terms of it's a document about this case and not, we found like just extraneous personal stuff.
I'm listening. Somebody else is trying to get in.
And so most,
Thank you.
If it's partially, if it looks even remotely relevant, it'll be scanned into relativity. Then we'll have a closer review done for privilege. We'll redact anything privileged, like we have, looks like personal resumes of people that may or may not have been real water employees. We probably have social security, things like that will be redacted, and then it'll be made available.
So out of the 12 pallets, 5 pallets are junk? Is that what you're?
No, it's more like 7 pallets of documents. Of the 7 pallets, I think there's a box or 2 that's probably just completely junk. It'll be at Hollow. If we don't scan it, you will have the access to go look at it and decide if you want it scanned.
Okay.
The other pallets are like water samples or concentrate.
Right.
And we say they're the real water facility. These are the ones, now they're at the Henderson facility, just so.
Yeah, they're in Henderson, right.
These are from Mesa?
Yeah, they were trucked from Mesa to Henderson.
And so when do you think time-wise Holo's going to have something in relativity for people to look at?
It's going to be a little bit at a time.
2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks?
Probably going to be like 30 days. To give you an example, we had the documents from Henderson scanned, and it took our paralegals 30 days to go through those documents. And those are about a fourth of the documents from Mesa. So obviously, we're going to add people to the project to get it done quicker.
So I'm clear, the records from Henderson are the original records from Henderson.
Correct.
Henderson, okay.
Correct.
And
And
the original one scanned and ready for production.
we have produced some original records from Henderson. The second and final batch from Henderson will be ready to go in a couple of days.
Okay.
It consists of about 1,500 documents.
So will that be entire Henderson production?
Yes.
Henderson will be produced? And that should solve the Castile problem, because she just worked at Henderson, right?
That's correct. And there are documents with her name in that batch.
How many are?
1,500 documents. I don't know how many pages because relativity doesn't tell me that.
And I may have missed while I was adding our late arrivals there. I apologize. When do you think the stuff will be scanned? Is that what you were trying to say?
So the stuff, okay, so the original Henderson production's been scanned, that's going to be produced.
Okay,
That's
good.
the first
That's
production.
what I wanted to know.
The second production from Henderson has been scanned. It's got to be, we have 2 productions coming from Henderson. There's that many documents. The second production from Henderson will be produced likely within a week. It's already in relativity. We've done a first pass through, and it just needs to be, there's some personal stuff that has social security numbers that needs to be redacted. That within a week, we can get that out.
You said the second batch is 1,500 documents. How many is in the first batch, roughly?
It's on the notice of compliance we served today. It's indexed. So we're up to 3,400 pages.
Okay. And so between the 3,400 and 1,500, that is the universe of documents that we're going to get out of the Henderson original documents?
Correct, but be careful, those aren't pages. The 1,500 documents are who knows how many pages.
Okay. Okay, good.
Floyd? If I may, that kind of takes us back to what we were talking about before with Castillo and the deposition. In order not to belabor this point, we at this point in time, we have 5,000 documents, multiple pages. So my suggestion would be, and because of the complexity of this case, is we don't push this out 30 days. We're just going to get the documents within the next 2 to 3 weeks. So my suggestion is we push this out at least 60 days to allow our experts and people to take a good look at it and understand what Will's trying to say. But I think at this point, 30 days, we're just going to be right back in front of you.
Well, I'm going to start with this witness. Joel, do you have any objection to us starting with this witness? I mean, the odds of them having to take her again are pretty small, isn't it?
Now, I would say 2 things. We probably will have another hearing with you in 2 weeks. Hopefully, by then, all the Henderson stuff will be produced. And then we can have a discussion about what the documents are versus how much time people need.
So we can leave it at 30 days and re-examine it in 2 weeks.
So that was my other question. So do you still want me to try to have a hearing every 2 weeks? I'm available.
Yeah, why don't we
just
do
didn't know.
I think it's a good idea to do
Okay.
2 weeks, even if it's a short hearing.
Yeah,
All right, so I'll have a hearing in 2 weeks, and you can let me know what you think at that
That seems
time.
reasonable.
I like the way Will started with this employee. As important as I think her family thinks she is, Will thinks it's not that important to the company.
I think this is going to be a real nothing deposition, and her name will be forgotten during the course of this litigation.
I liked his two words, good cause.
All right, just a minute, let me look, okay, so we talked about the evidence, we talked about Shaney. Okay, is everyone ready to jump into the fact sheet? Has there been an agreement at all on that fact
Yeah, we
sheet that
pretty
was
much
read?
agreed to the fact sheets with them. I mean,
Okay.
We still think it's too long, but we gave up. And we can circulate to the other plaintiffs' counsel last week.
Everyone agrees on our
Everyone
end.
agrees, and so I think we're
All
pretty
right,
much
let's
done.
get them out. And then there was a question, 30 days to complete and serve. Does everybody agree to that?
Well, I was, brought up the idea of waves, first of all, and I'm probably the only one really affected because I have 57 plaintiffs. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, we've already started, but I don't know, I can get all 57 done in 30 days. I can probably do half. And
Give me an idea. If you have 57. Danielle, how many does your firm have?
We only have one right now, and then Percova, which isn't going to happen for at least a few more months, I would say.
Okay,
I think I
who
could.
has another large group that you know?
I think that we're the only large group.
All right, well, let's just work with you. When we have I'm gonna go ahead and put out an order that it'll be 30 days, understanding that when we meet in 2 weeks, we'll see who needs an extension. I just want to get it rolling for
Yeah,
everybody.
I'll probably, what we've tried to do is go and, as of now, we're focusing on the first 6 cases, which is about 30 plaintiffs, and trying to get those done in 30 days. And then we're gonna ask for an extension on the last group of cases for a lot of reasons, because the.
All right, how many people do you have?
57.
All right, how many can you do in a week? Yes.
Well, 6 to 8, maybe.
Oh, I mean in 30 days, I'm sorry. What do you think? you
30
get done?
days,
That's
I think
my
we can
fault.
get done with 30 in 30 days.
All right, then what the order is going to be is complete in 30 days, or if you have more than 30 plaintiffs, we'll go 60.
Okay.
But I want them to roll in as you get them done.
Yeah, we want to do that too. We want to get the first group out.
And, all right, who's going to serve them?
We plan on just filing them in the case-specific holo places
Yeah, so are you going to file them in each case?
in each case. Well, in each subdirectory.
Once that's set up?
Yeah, but that'll be set up. He can set it up probably, he told me he could do it in 15 minutes.
Okay. All right, then, still work, how many plaintiffs do we have, individual? Does anybody know? We done a head count?
62, something like that.
Does that count the ones that got removed, or is that just the
Yeah.
I heard 71. I don't know.
yeah,
And how many do you have?
57?
That'll at least 5 other plaintiffs.
Yeah, I have a bunch of singles that are out there.
Hmm.
Well, I'm counting husband and wife on a couple of these. So,
Oh, I see. All right, well, let me go through this. So,
I was counting injured parties, so if a parent represented a child, I only counted the child.
yeah,
So that's why my numbers are gonna be different.
well, I'm worried about getting these things out. So they're going to come back, just like the medical records, into subdirectories. So if they return them to the depository, by the time they return them, Halo will know what subdirectory to put them in.
yeah, we should have by the next special master meeting, we should have the subdirectory report or document or whatever he's gonna call it.
Well, what I'll do then is I'm going to go ahead and put an order saying they're due in 30 days.
Yeah, and remember, we're starting to do the medicals as soon as we get the subdirectory set up. So
Right.
we're not holding back on the medicals with the fact sheet. We're just dumping them in.
Okay. And then I'll have a hearing in 2 weeks to see how we're doing on the subdirectories. So when the people complete in the order, I should say, when the people complete the questionnaire and submit their medical records, they should be well, we're gonna have to wait till Hale has this order. Right?
I'm thinking that's gonna be tomorrow or the next day.
Holo doesn't need
Holo.
anything. They're setting up just folders for each of the individual plaintiffs. And so all we need to do is tell them who to allow access to those plaintiffs. So only the relevant parties can access those. So it's not a problem. Anything that we produce, the fact sheet, the medical records, we just give it to Holo. Holo puts it in that individual plaintiff's folder and then restricts access to anyone who's not authorized as a defendant.
Yeah, but we haven't told them who's authorized yet.
They want us to do that.
I know.
We should have the draft protocol to Joel by tomorrow, I would think.
All right, and as soon as you two, you don't need my stamp approval. If you two agree to it, shoot it out to everyone. I'll put it in an order once we have a hearing, I guess, but I want to get it out. If you want to send it by me, I'll look at it. I'm here every day. So you can send it by and I can do a so ordered on it if you want. What I'm going to tell people on the questionnaires is to start producing them to the Holo depository, which will be instructed on which parties will be allowed to have the distribution, right?
Right.
Which we'll discuss at the next hearing.
Yeah, that kind of brings up the reverse issue, which is, for example, in one of the cases, we have actually served interrogatories, and their responses aren't due for another 3 or 4 weeks, but I don't know if they're going to want to just put that the subdirectory too, or if they want to. None of the questions are really, trade secret kind of stuff.
Well, I'm going to tell everyone to respond to discovery and the production of these documents to Holo, which will be instruct on who they can distribute it to.
Okay. Yeah, just for completeness, we've also served, we served discovery on Milwaukee Instruments on June 16th, and then we served it on Walgreens on June 23rd. So even if they answer in 30 days, which does not seem to.
Is Milwaukee represented? Because I sent them some attorney contacted us and we sent them the Zoom information. Are they represented?
Yeah, they're Milwaukee Instruments as counsel.
Here
Yeah.
today. Milwaukee, I was confused. Elizabeth Lowell.
Yeah, Elizabeth Lowell represents Milwaukee.
Jim, what was that?
Elizabeth Lowell represents Milwaukee Instruments.
Well, again, on the fact sheets and the medical records, I'm going to instruct people to produce them to Holo, and that Holo will not distribute them until they get an accepted protocol.
Okay. And just for completeness, I'd served 2 custodian records depositions. I gave the notice, no one objected. We served the depositions. We have actually got documents from one of the 2 now, which we're in the process of indexing. We should be filing those next week sometime. Those are just generic documents, so we'll just file them.
Now, on the Nevada beverage production, you say the court's already ruled on that?
Yeah, those were supposed to be produced on June 9th originally. The court ruled on it, but I don't know what they intend with regards to.
And do we have is Holo set up as the formal depository?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where everyone should know to produce
Right.
that.
I think Judge Alf gave them reasonable time. Judge Alf? Yeah, Judge Alf gave them reasonable time to do so.
Well, she's not going to overrule another person from Kentucky, I guess.
Yeah. I don't think so. But anyway, it would be nice.
We are both from Kentucky. I should have revealed that.
Today, July 7th, it would be nice if they could produce the documents at least by next week.
What's the order? Does anybody know? whatever.
The order
Judge
she
Hale
says reasonable time. That's all she said.
Yeah, hi,
She said
Floyd, this is,
follow up with you if there's a dispute.
this is Colt, bar number 9,000 for the court reporter. Eric sent me a proposed order. I sent him back this afternoon, proposed red lines. And our client's evaluating its options right now, so we should know soon.
I mean, what options would there be?
Well, it's just, the court is ordered to produce the list that you distributed to, correct?
That's correct. The court has adopted your order pursuant to yesterday's hearing. So we're evaluating appellate options and how we want to proceed.
Okay. And she just said reasonable time?
That's all she said.
And she said, follow up with you if there's a dispute of it's taking too long.
All right, I'll include that in. How much time you want me to give you?
I
to
think,
produce?
yeah, I think 14 days from the date of the order should be fine.
Date of the order being yesterday or the written order?
Written entry of the order.
You know what the ruling is.
I know that.
I mean, it's a list of customers. I don't know what we're waiting for.
That was on the
here.
website, and I mean, here I've got to do 57 sets of interrogatories, fact sheets, medical records.
All right, I'm going to indicate I was advised the court affirmed the order, so I'm going to indicate that the document should be produced within 20 days of today. And you can haggle over her order and if if somebody wants to go back in front of her, it was affirmed. I don't care what the order says if it was affirmed. So, and we'll make it 20 days from today. If you've got a dispute in front of her and she wants to stay at the okay. Fact sheets. Parties have agreed to serve redundant discovery. All right, what about a requested item 4 is the defendant's proposal that plaintiffs return signed authorizations for medical records, public health records, employment records within 30 days of the request. Where are we on that?
This was actually Jim's agenda item. If I recall correctly, I think we talked at the last hearing about them producing authorizations and we would get them signed.
Yeah, Floyd, that's right. Eric's correct. What we would propose is that defendants who want them serve on the plaintiffs in their individual cases whatever authorizations they think they need, and the plaintiffs take 30 days to return those signed authorizations so that we can go out and get what we think there might be.
Well, I don't need an order on that, just serve them.
Very good.
Just a discovery request.
Are we going to get one master authorization or an
Yeah,
authorization for each one?
I'd love to do it that way, Will. My understanding is that some of the healthcare providers and all of the public health agencies have their own specific authorization. So we'll make them uniform wherever we can.
What I meant by that is there going to be one lead firm doing the authorizations, or all the defense firms going to send different authorizations for each client? Are you going to have one master gathering of each plaintiff, or are you going to have separate gatherings?
Yeah, there's no reason not to do one master gathering. The defendants will coordinate that. So for each case,
Jim, you'll work on that for me.
I will, Floyd.
All right. Okay. Oh, haven't we entered a protective order in this case? It's being routed, right?
We have 7 of them pending and need a couple more, but yeah.
Are they being routed? Is that?
Brianna served them on the first and Hale came at the
Sorry,
same.
who served them on the first?
Brianna. And I need to obviously quickly look at them and I will approve them. But there are other attorneys in some of those cases, so I'm wondering if it's just easier to have you enter them rather than wait for everybody to sign off.
Why don't, if you two will send me a form the two of you accept, I'm going to enter it. And then if somebody objects, we can handle that.
That's probably quicker than waiting for
Yeah.
signatures.
Just send me the form you want
Okay.
that you two agree to. Do you think we need a preservation order? I mean, I guess we do.
Oh, this is something we talked about last time. This is
Yeah, I know.
non-parties. We do need that order. Non-parties have come out of the woodwork that have quantities of real water that they want to dispose of. And there's been an agreed upon protocol how to handle that. There's a proposed order. There's been no objection. We'd ask that you enter it.
Send it to me.
Okay.
I don't remember seeing it.
We talked about it last time.
Yeah, we did it by letter after the last hearing, and you gave everyone 10 days before you signed it. But,
All right, just a minute. When did that go out? So you think I have it?
well, I can short circuit this because Jim noticed a typo in the title. And so I just had my assistant fix the title and send it to Debbie.
Send it to me.
Okay, I'll have her send it.
Yeah, send the stuff to me.
Okay.
I don't know why.
So that'll just be emailed and
Yeah.
you can,
She's here like once a week. I'm here every day. Plus, I do my own e-filing and everything else, so
okay.
send it directly to me. In fact, all the e-filing I get is in a subfolder for real water. So I can go back forever. So, kind of like the old endoscopy cases.
Right. So you got 2 books you can write.
Okay, so, hold on. And then, it's a little early for testing protocol, I guess, huh?
The only thing, and I brought it up last time, is we want to figure out whether these titanium rods are really titanium. So what we want to do is non-destructive testing. We're just going to give notice of everybody what our proposed non-destructive testing is. And if they can come and watch, we'll do the non-destructive testing and we'll file a report with regards to what we find out.
Who's doing it, a metallurgist?
Well, we've been talking to TIMET because they seem to be the people who know more about titanium than anyone in the world. And so we are proposing.
Just happened to be here.
Yeah, they just happen to be here. So we've been talking about TIMET. We're trying not to spook them. You know, we don't want them, there's 9,000 attorneys coming in. But that would be our number one choice, but we might not be able to get that.
All right, well, you're gonna have to give everyone several weeks' notice.
Oh, we plan on giving them several weeks' notice.
All right.
In
If
fact-
it's
in
not,
fact, we will notice it before our special master hearing, so there's a hearing between the notice and the.
how many rods are there?
Well, that's the last item on the agenda.
Yeah, I see that.
When we took Marlowe's deposition, again, he was the so-called inventor of the real water. He testified that he turned over 8 rods, 7 or 8, to real water, and we've got 2 rods. So either there's 6 rods floating around out there, he was wrong, which is possible. He seemed pretty old guy, but you seem to have pretty good memory.
Careful.
Yeah, but so that's why we have that on the missing rods.
We just want to know if there are other
Joel,
routes
is-
out there, and if not, what, you know.
Joel, is there anybody for you to even talk to about this stuff?
There is, and I've asked, and they believe that anything that's missing was taken by the FDA. We're producing the FDA, whatever you want to call them, they're not really evidence logs, but we're producing the documents. The FDA gave real water when they did things.
Does Shani know anything about titanium rods?
I doubt it.
Yeah.
But mine, she would not.
All right, well, can you produce those? I don't know if we need to.
They're ready to go. It's just we were waiting on a protective order, so we'll slap a thing
You're
on.
emailing me the protective order today.
Uh,
I don't care when, but I mean, send it to my, fhale@floydhale.com.
And you'll enter it in Wren and all coordinated cases, right? Something like that. That's easier than doing 10 of them, isn't it?
Well, and again, that kind of goes back to the,
I don't care, I'll sign 10 if I have to. I'd like to get the protective orders out.
yeah, my concern is that there's one entered in every case. We
Right.
can short circuit all the signatures and approvals from everyone if we.
I don't
have
need an
you sign
approval.
it.
If you just send me the form and I'm going to enter it, and if anybody wants to object, I'll handle the objections after they're, to get 10 lawyers to approve it in this day and age,
Well,
virtually.
we have all agreed on the terms of the protective order. It's now just getting the e-signature permission to submit to the court. But instead, we'll submit. one
Submit it
you
to
in
me.
each
I don't,
case.
I don't need a stipulation. If I know the parties have agreed, or the 90% of you have, I'll sign the order, I'll shoot it out. It's going to be a special master order. And I'm going to shoot it out in every single case.
Yeah, but I do think it probably needs to be entered in every single case to make sure it applies.
How many departments do we have?
There,
Departments or cases.
yeah, 13.
It might be more effective for third parties if a judge signs it, but let me sign one and get it out and we'll see if we can use it. If you send me a form that Joel agrees to and your group agrees to, I'm going to enter them. And if somebody wants to do, it's always something we could discuss.
We could submit it to the court based on your signature, you know, and do it that way. So I'll revise it so it's for you to sign and then.
Put it so ordered on it and we'll take care of it.
Gotcha.
Put what order on it?
It is so ordered and we'll take care of it.
And the reference to the FDA reminded me that I think we produced everything we got from the FDA in the Southern Nevada Health District. If we haven't, it's being produced shortly. I think we produced it already, but.
Pretty sure we have.
And I think number 8 and 9 are done with that Wren order, but maybe we need to remind people.
Number 8, remaining real water cases to be coordinated. That was Jim's addition to the agenda. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we really didn't finish 7. 7, on 7, so Eric is drafting a testing protocol, right?
Well, we've been having discussions, Jim and I, on it. I mean, we're in the process, but like you said, as long as we can get the titanium tubes testing, which is, I think, separate from the water testing done, we're working on a protocol for the water testing.
Right, because this would be destructive testing, so we're taking a little different approach.
Well, 7 is you're talking about testing protocol. Well,
Right,
there's not a whole lot of shortage of water.
Yeah, there's a lot of nuts and bolts that are just, and there hasn't been any significant disputes. I think the purpose of that was just to say, from the last hearing we discussed it, we didn't want to just leave it unmentioned at this one, so.
We need to try to finalize it. Where are we on different testing per distributor? I mean, how do you propose to do it?
well, we want.
Floyd, this is Jim. We've got a draft and, excuse me, Jim Neale for UNFI. We have a draft that we're massaging internally. We'll be able to give that to Eric very early next week, and we'll loop Joel in on those conversations. I think by the time we're in front of you in 2 weeks, we'll have a good proposal that's largely agreed to.
All right, well, let me do this then. On the production of the distribution, I was going to kick out an order. Well, I think I will. I'm going to kick out an order that the court has affirmed the Nevada beverage distribution production, and I'm ordering it to be produced in 20 days from the day I signed that order. We're going to be meeting before then. So if you need an extra week or a fortnight or something, that's okay, but I just want to get it on the agenda. All right, so this water testing though.
Yeah, Floyd, to answer your question a little more directly, what I see doing is figuring out what are in the tubes. That's going to be our first effort. Then I think we're probably going to test some of the concentrate. And then after we test the concentrate, we would probably be doing water testing. The reason for that is we think there'd be more material in the concentrate, and so we might get more meaningful results than if we test the water first without knowing what's in the concentrate.
Well, it just seems to me if we route a protocol and give everybody a month or 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever for their experts to look at it, if somebody objects to the protocol, they can object, otherwise we'll never move forward.
Yeah, I don't see any expert really wanting to test water until we test the concentrate, but, maybe they do.
And how are they gonna, do you know what they're gonna do to the titanium rods?
It's, as I understand it, very basically, it's something called X-ray fluorescence, where they just shine fluorescent light through it, and the way that the light reflects, they can tell the different elemental alloys in there. But, so it's just more of just coordinating with the lab, who has the equipment, who's gonna be there, what their requirements are, what everyone wants, who to have there. So that's really the burden of it, not the actual.
On any testing, if you route a protocol, give everyone a couple of weeks to object, and then give everyone probably 3 weeks to view it. I'll just handle objections. I don't need to make up the protocol. I don't need to approve the protocol. I need the lawyers who are in the case to be the ones to tell me if there's an issue.
Yeah, and we've been communicating well about all these issues and haven't had any problems yet. It's just more of the nuts and bolts of how is the most efficient way to do
Right.
this, and, it's that type of stuff. So we should have something at the next special master hearing in 2 weeks. And if there are any disputes, we can raise them at that point.
All right. And I think, like I said, the central filing is Wren. Do we really need to?
So here's the issue.
Here's the problem. These are coordinated. You have 13 fully elected, independent, run their own department judges. And so they're not consolidated. So what I did was enter an order, which no one objected to, that every single thing in every case has to be filed in Wren. So people can monitor Wren with their individual case and not worry about what's going on in King. So if somebody finds that that's not being done, we just need to remind people. And what I'll do, I'll e-serve a letter reminding people.
That, and I appreciate that, but that's not really the problem. The problem is everything is filed or served in Wren, but it's also filed or served in a bunch of the other cases, because by filing it in Wren doesn't mean it's filed in Bonner.
No, that's right. No, if you have the King case, even though we're coordinated, they are not consolidated. So you would have to file it in King, a King filing, and also file it in Wren.
Right.
I don't know any other way to do it.
Well, the way that I've been looking at this, because it is a monstrous headache, the way we did it in endoscopy cases was there was a case management order.
They were consolidated.
Coordinated.
Yeah, well, but I had a chief judge in charge of all.
Chief judge entered a coordination order.
Yeah, the chief judge entered a coordination order binding all the others.
With the automatic follow-on.
Yes, that's what I think we should do in this case. We should have, whether it's Wren or an INRI real water, a separate docket set up, and an order that says everything's filed in the master docket is considered filed in all the individual cases that it applies.
Making up a master docket, the odds of that working are slim and none. We're better off picking Wren as the lead case. And I think we've already done it.
So
If you could, if somebody wants to get together a proposed order for the chief judge, it's not Judge Bill anymore, is it? Who's chief judge now?
I think it still is Judge Bell. I don't think
He
took over.
It's been changed to Judge Weiss.
I'm sorry.
All right, this is Jacqueline Franco, bar number 13484. It's Judge Weiss, if I'm not mistaken. He's the new
There was
judge.
an
Chief judge.
announcement a day or two ago.
Oh, Jerry Weiss is the
Yeah.
chief?
Yeah.
Well, he'll, if you want to try to put together, I just think
I
might be creating a problem if you don't
The
meet.
one benefit is if it's an automatic coordination for newly filed cases, we don't have to go through the stipulation process every time. That is the one big benefit I see.
Somebody put together a proposed order for me to submit to to Judge Weiss, and I'll do it.
Okay.
go off the record a minute. So when I get calls from 3 judges who don't like it, you want me to just handle it myself?
Just have.
I can tell you what
Joel.
3 it's going to be. I'll give him Joel's cell
Yeah,
phone.
give him my cell phone, yeah.
All right, now
After
we're
5
back
today.
on it. All right, why don't somebody, why didn't someone go ahead and draft a order similar to what we had in endoscopy? And I'll run it by, especially if it's Judge Weiss. He's about as easy to work with. Now, when it was Judge Bell, her dad was here every couple of days a week, so I could work with him too. But Judge Weiss will be fine.
Yeah, he actually tried the endoscopy cases. So
Right.
He knows.
Oh, he did 2 of those?
We tried one all the way to completion. We tried half of one in front of him, and they'd settled after the plaintiff's rested.
Okay, so I'm going to be getting a form protective order. I'm going to be getting a form coordination.
You know, I was spoke Floyd. He tried half of one. I was thinking the Actos case. He tried the whole. Yeah. Maybe he only tried. I don't know. I don't remember. I withdraw all my comments.
What did you say, the Actos case?
Yeah, Actos.
Okay, so we'll take care. We did Nevada beverage already. And so Joel, are you going to look into trying to find out how many titanium rods there were and where they are now?
Yeah, I've asked around and I will ask again.
I'm hoping Shaney can answer that.
I don't think so.
Does it matter? Do you need to know other real water cases that are out there to be coordinated? There's at least 1 or 2.
Are they state court cases?
Yeah, well, no. 1 is state court, 1's been removed to federal court, and I think may get remanded, we'll see.
That's. Hale's case.
Yeah, cost.
I don't have any jurisdiction over them if they're not coordinated.
Right. Just on the agenda is answering the question. There's a couple out there.
Who's the plaintiff attorney?
Cottle and one of them, and actually he's got a pre-litigation one too that's not been filed.
How does he have a pre-litigation one?
Sent me its demands.
Oh,
Well, you're going to want them coordinated, right?
Yeah, I'd love to get them coordinated, but
Well,
can't do one with the federal court and I can't do one if he hasn't filed a lawsuit.
no. Well,
Are there any others out there?
I think there might be 1 or 2 others. I've got a list that I didn't bring with me, but
Did-
I'm not sharing it.
did you remand it to federal court? He didn't file it in federal court, did he?
No, there's a lot of,
I mean,
it's a
removed,
long story, but I'm not a party to that case yet.
but somebody removed it to federal
Yeah.
court. Okay. Well, there's nothing we can do about that till it gets remanded.
That's right, I agree.
But anybody that has filed a new case in state court, you're going to want it coordinated, right?
Yes,
All you have to do is send me something asking me to do an order or whatever, or get together with a lawyer and do a stip and order.
yeah. No, just keeping you informed. There's some others out there.
there's none in Reno, are there?
Not that I know of. There's rumblings in California, but I haven't seen any actually filed.
Okay.
I think that's it. Folks on the Zoom, do you have anything else? Otherwise, I'll renotice this in about another 2 weeks.
Nothing else, Floyd. Thanks.
All
Sounds
right,
good.
thank you. And I'm sorry, we had trouble with that one room before. We do 3 to 4 Zooms. This whole building is set up, this whole floor is set up for Zoom. So we'll work the bugs out. I had trouble with the audio in that room once before, now that I think about it, even on a conference call. So we'll get together in a room where we don't have so much problem for you, okay?
Thank you.
Turn on their camera so I can just take a picture of the screen, because I know a bunch of people joined in the middle, so if they want to have their appearance on the transcript.
All right, there's Jackie. You may have to zoom down on the,
Yeah. Okay, so this is one. Okay, thank you, everyone.
you want to tell the people who you are in case somebody wants to contact you.
Yes, I am Joanna Voris with Oasis Reporting Services, if anyone needs to order a transcript.
All right, I think that's it for today. I'll renotice the hearing in another 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for your patience, folks.
Thank you, Floyd.